I'd like to call this regular board of Selectmen meeting. Again, Tuesday, May 16th, 2023. First thing we're going to do is go over. I see we have 2 people on. So this is a hybrid meeting. Pending, and for those who are online, one thing is to be respectful, to talk about different things, talking all the time. That's what we're doing tonight, and we'll keep it very respectful. Everybody is on duty. If you ask to leave, you're online, and you can get away with doing that. So you just turn it off and we'll do that later. So you never really have a problem. Next thing is, please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I've been asked to add some additions to the agenda that we're putting out. One of them is under appointments. We have a new hire. Also, staff. So I move to approve the agenda with the following additions under section 9. Appointments and resignations. 9.5 is the appointment of Cynthia Botko as payroll specialist. 9.6, appointment of marine patrol staff. Discussion. Those in favor? So I move under regular meeting minutes. I move to approve the board of selectmen regular meeting minutes for April 18th. 2023. We do that with beer. Discussion. All those in favor? Two abstentions. Audience of citizens. Anybody who has something to say that's not on the agenda? Anybody in the chat? There's none. We'll go in. Yes, sir. What's your name and address, please?
Daniel Comfort.
Yep.
So I'm gonna say hi. Nice to be here.
Everybody. Hi, Daniel.
Hey.
You new resident, you showed up to a board of selectmen meeting. People have been here for. Never mind. Thank you for coming, Dan. You just threw me off then, right? All business discussion regarding sidewalks, walk paths from Lake Road to the town center. So I guess we'll kind of open this up. Who spearheaded it? You want to start? And you'll give us your name and address.
occasion, to, improve pedestrian safety. And the idea is not apply for a grant some sort that would work.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else weighing in on that subject?
If there is money out there that give the town that might pedestrian safety issue. So,
Okay.
So Dan Gage, I think that you got it's, I'd like to point out that, sidewalks between Lincoln and Town Center, not only do bad things can happen, but also can throw a lot of positive things. But like more walk in the community, traffic, Town Center here, the libraries, businesses, corner. And so it's not only just a event, bad things can happen. As well.
Steve, 188 Route 87. We had a house here since 2013. We just moved in full time recently. Walkability is a key factor whenever you look at property. And in addition, safety, as Sherry mentioned, it's true everywhere. Traffic very fast. It's also very fast on 87. It's difficult sometimes. We live on 87, so it's difficult sometimes to pull out. We have garages right on 87. We manage, but towns get reputations, and if you can drive through a town really fast, people know it. And if you can't drive through a town really fast, people know that too. I don't know what the reputation of Columbia is in terms of public safety and law enforcement, but certainly I vote for whatever law enforcement we have in terms of the state trooper. And I've seen them on the roads and trying to do a good job. I know it's a difficult task, but in terms of the safety, even if we have a walkway, which would be wonderful, and I'm fully supportive, I'd like to walk. I'd also like to have some effort to slow down traffic in whatever way possible. State signs, those flashing signs, more troopers, just so we can be a bit safer if we do get a chance to walk down the road on the path. Right now, it's on the side of the road. As Sherry said, or someone said, you do see mothers with babies pushing their shoulders. They just want to get out, and they're stuck in these little lanes. And on Lake Road, on one side, there's almost no lane to walk. You have to cross over, which is fine. But so attention to that, or at least respectful request that attention to the police patrolling in the town. Maybe the town can get the reputation, you can drive through here real fast, and you can drive through another town fast, fine. They're not here.
Well, you kind of covered two issues there, so,
I'm linking the safety part of it.
yeah, I understand it. I'm not sure sidewalks would slow down any traffic, help with the safety. It would help if people get off the road and stuff. Mark, you have some information, you looked into this?
Yes, the application, it's called the Connected Drug Transportation Community Connectivity Grant Program. And the grant application is due July 21st of this year. So there'd be no way that we could possibly apply this year. But the grant would offer 100 to 800,000 in funding and costs associated with activities such as engineering, right-of-way negotiations, acquisitions, any utility relocations or public involvement would be the responsibility of the municipality. The 800 to 800,000 for the sidewalk program would strictly go to construction. And applications are not funded every year, they're every 2 years, contingent upon funds being available. So you have to engineer the project, get public input. The application process requires a whole list of readiness to proceed, a complete street program, a complete street policy, and an ADA transition plan for the sidewalk system. So there'd be a lot of engineering involved. But it would have to be, what I would want is public hearings on it, that the town is behind it, not what happened in 2009 where the grant went forward, got the money, and then the town was against it. So it'd be a lot of work to get to that point.
What's the, may I ask what the complete street is? I mean, that sounds like
It would,
a whole program that you now have to like map out the whole town.
I'd have
you
to,
know?
I'd have to check with CROG, our council of governments. I believe our planners there would help us with this, and our planner within Columbia, who does have experience in this area. I would consult with him as well. But I don't know, that's a long stretch. And I don't know also if the participation in the grant is different on a state highway versus a local municipal street. I'd have to check that through council governments.
Actually, I saw this young lady right here, Mary.
I love the thing.
I know, and my wife tells me I shouldn't say that, but I'm sorry, but name and
Hi, Mary
address.
Rental, 34 During. I certainly want to be here to support Sherry and the group and the people who are speaking respective to Lake Road. I'm not sure this question could be answered and or the comment I'm about to make is appropriate if we have to go on new business at some point in time. I recall George Murphy, who was the Director of Public Works, when they were putting in guardrails or guide rails on Erdoney Road, stating that they had received a grant and they were going to put behind the guide rails so that we would have safety because people were walking on curbs. There are two very bad curbs on Erdoney Road heading towards Andover. That they had money and materials and were ready to put a bridge in, and that would have gone behind what we call Erdoney Road Dike. It's a little bit down the road from the beach. And that never happened. And obviously we have a new regime, we have a new Director of Public Works. Was that grant approved? Is that part of a bigger plan?
Yeah, let me address that. I believe that we put money aside for that. We appropriated the funds for it. The owner of the property refused to allow us to put it there.
Oh,
So, Erdoney Road. I understand that. It's our road. We could do
right.
what we wanted and the funds were appropriated.
It's
We could
very
not
busy,
get permission.
and
Well, I
particularly
understand that.
in the,
I understand that.
in
So,
Summer.
yeah,
So, okay, so I'll make a second comment. There are two curves. If the owner, and I would believe there would be, I don't know if you call it eminent domain or an ability to utilize part of something off the street, say a shoulder. If the owner refuses, is there any recourse that we have? Number one. Number two, the second curve, the owner of that property would be more than willing to work with the town to put a sidewalk in, because I'm the owner. And from that curve at 17 Erdoney to 19 Erdoney, which is all wetlands, you could easily put a sidewalk in and feel safe.
but it's all wetlands.
It's all wetlands.
Now I have to go through wetlands.
Great, I'm on wetlands, I'm happy to help.
Okay, I understand and thank you very much. Are you happy to fund? But, and yes, I'll talk to all these things, yeah.
So I just have a question about Sherry, I have a question about how
much of the land from the street,
State owned?
yeah, is state or town owned, and I understand that people have concerns and that those need to be addressed, and I'm very much all about like compromise, but, you know, public safety and the fact that that part of the road isn't owned by people, why can't, I mean, shouldn't there be like a need for public safety might be greater than the need for somebody to not want it near their house. I mean, that just, so I'm
Yeah,
not,
no, I understand that.
yeah.
I don't think anybody said anything about, you know, we're just discussing it now.
Mhm.
So I get it. Listen, when I see the young lady with their stroller with one in the back, one in the front and one walking in front of her, I cringe every time. Absolutely. I wish she wouldn't walk on there.
But I wish she could, I mean, I think she should be able to, that's my feeling. Anyways, but.
I wish she could too.
I was listening to the explanation of the grant. And I believe that last time we tried this, we had a different grant. It was called Safeway to School. And I believe that paid the engineering, the planning, the tree,
And yet the town still didn't want it.
and the construction. I'm just saying that perhaps if the town decided to do this, they could look into a grant that covered more of the
Well,
cost. And
Yeah,
Mansfield put a safe way to school sidewalk in from Mansfield Center down to their new school. And I got involved with that because it went on Joshua Trust land. And I had to attend all of those meetings. And they just, you know, it just said, you need to give us an easement. And that's how it went. But it was a state road, a little. And I'm just saying, there are other avenues.
and I will tell you, we, Mark and I, and Jen, we look for anybody else's money to do anything in town. Grants, we absolutely do. Scour, so we absolutely will take a look at that. So let me just. So this is obviously something we're gonna have to continue to look at. We're gonna have to look into some of the grants that are out there. We're gonna have to get in touch with the state, talk to them. And the state never says, oh yeah, just go ahead. I don't know how Mansfield did, but we'll have to inquire about that. I'd love to see, to be honest with you, I'd love to see maybe more people or a petition. I know that was brought up by another selectman. And then we will have to have town meetings and stuff. I will say this. There's a lot of roads in Columbia that would like the speed to go down. We pay a lot for the state trooper. I love seeing him out there. You know what I love more? When he's got somebody pulled over and he's writing him a ticket. Okay. We can't have, at the cost, it's really very difficult for the town to bring on more. We've looked into it. We really have. I've looked at constables. It's just, it's costly, very costly. And no life is worth the amount we pay, but you understand. From here down to the lake, we'll have to see where it would go, which side. And I'm not asking for it now. We'd have to look, we'd have to work with the state. We'd have to, and this is a big undertaking. It's not, it really is a big undertaking. When the state's involved, There's money involved and there's people's property involved. I don't know what the setback is for the state road. It's at least 6 feet, probably. And we'd have to have a study done to see what kind of utilities would have to be moved at our expense. Good thing we can't apply for the grant this year, I gotta tell you, because this is years. You know, so, actually, she had her hand up first.
I also know that with a lot of this pedestrian safety, I mean, to me, this whole topic is under pedestrian safety, which is something we're all interested in different areas, but, and I know that state trooper is expensive, but sometimes there are like things, signs you can get up that will say, hey, your speed is this. And those might be pretty effective in some of the
We have those.
smaller roads and, yeah.
We
Okay,
have them and we posted them and
We need to.
you've never seen them. So, I'll make sure we're.
Just.
Yes, so I had a question. I understand it takes a lot of planning, you know, to do something like this, but it's been done once before, and I just wonder if the work that was done previously in terms of engineering, moving utilities, state setbacks and whatnot would be applicable to a new application where a lot of that work's already been completed.
Yeah.
Can maybe just be edited appropriately or updated appropriately.
We'll have to locate that. So, yeah. So, I mean, I guess if we had a business district like Mansfield and you needed the sidewalks for the business district, there probably would be double the amount of people in the seats here. Or if it was a neighborhood, my daughter, I was just down outside of Philadelphia, she lives in a little house, and walking my granddaughter around all the sidewalks, they're wonderful, absolutely. But it's a neighborhood. It's a little bit different, so we will, you know, I'll open it for any other kind of thoughts, but I'll tell you, we'll take a look at what we did years ago, see if we have any of that, how far we got into it. And somebody had their hand up on me. I saw it up. No, somebody,
Somebody in chat.
I think it was
Christine's
Esposito.
62 Doubleday Road. I'm having a hard time hearing everyone. I want to speak today in favor of getting a crosswalk and a walk light connecting Pine Street and Hennequin. And I'd be willing to participate in the committee to help get this done.
And that's the other thing. I'd like to walk from my house next to Lebanon down to here, you know? And I mean, I see people out there on those roads too. And it's just, I'm not saying that one thing, we won't do one thing because it starts the whole ball rolling, but it starts the ball rolling. Yes.
A few towns around like Hebron and Mansfield have been, you know, working away at sidewalk, a little here and there, a little here and there, connecting things, and it makes, and in Coventry, and it really makes a big difference after more and more things start to be connected, and it does start to feel more like a neighborhood than like a highway when there are those, that kind of accessibility.
The last time we did this, there were a lot of people that were against it who lived on 87. I don't know if you've canvassed those people. I mean, they may come out, there were, I don't know, 150, 200 people at that meeting. It was huge.
I heard that, and I wasn't here, but everyone that I have approached a lot of people, and everyone I have talked to has been positive. I haven't talked to anybody yet who said, I don't want to see that happen. So surprisingly, I mean, it could be that a lot of the trees were removed. It could be that maybe a walk to school thing was, this is more of like for everybody thing, you know, I mean, maybe people didn't want their kids walking to school, or maybe,
I don't think anybody walks to school in Columbia.
They don't. We pay for a bus for every child to get
right,
picked up in
and
front of their house.
so I can understand why that title might not really sit well with people, right? And maybe your tree is in the way, and you have a beautiful tree, and there were a lot of beautiful trees on this road when I moved here that aren't here anymore, so maybe they're not here, and maybe there's a kind of walking path that's not a sidewalk, but a, you know, gravel path that would be easier to keep up. I mean, I just think maybe there's ways to explore it.
Like the one around Lebanon Green?
Yeah,
I would just see if you can talk to as many people as you can. Just
If
see.
you know, put together an informal committee and do a pamphlet or something and get signatures. And
I'm happy to be on a pedestrian safety committee and see what people want to do and try to create compromise. That's what, you know, to make it successful. in some
We
way.
have a lot of trails in Columbia.
I know, and I use them all the time.
I mean, we're purchasing open space for 1,000-acre park, all the trails you need, and the greenways and the airline trail and up at Rec Park.
And you missed my talk last week where I was like so thankful for all of that. And that's part of the reason I moved here, you know, because yes, those are wonderful.
It is the irony of the country life that we used to, New Haven, before we finally moved here, that area, and we have sidewalks, and everybody walks because there's sidewalks, people are outside. We used to live in Haddam, we lived in Haddam, and we jogged and stuff, and you're always taking your life in your hands on the road. Same thing as here, every road in town here has narrow sides, so it's just the irony of the country life that, it is ironic that you can't take away safe walk, and you can in Philadelphia. Because the sidewalk, yeah, it's so much busier.
Actually, I tripped so many times. And that's the other thing. Maintenance. I know everybody goes, oh, the homeowner has to maintain it, they have to maintain it. What if it's not on the homeowners? What if it's on,
state property.
like, past, I guess everybody owns up to the road somewhere, right? I don't know. I honestly don't
Well,
know.
you
Does the
know-
town own some of that? Do we have to maintain it?
In small towns, you have 100 foot. Out here, it's 200 feet, you know, it's not a quarter acre, half acre lot, it's an acre lot. And sometimes it's a lot of frontage, and then it's, I had a, you know, it was I lived in Windsor Locks, so I grew up with sidewalks, and you shoveled and you picked up and you swept it, and you, back in the day, picked up all the garbage on it.
Is it possible, I would suggest like maybe there's a way that it can be written in as a clause that people, like when there's snow, it's the
Oh, there will be
plows.
a clause.
There, you know, the plows, I mean, I live on 30, on Route 87, I would have to, and I'd be, you know, willing to have sidewalks on my property, but, you know, the plows come and they make a mountain in front of my house that I'd have a hard time getting through as much as I'd love to, but, you know, so maybe that has to be written into it, that people don't have to shovel that in the winter, right? Not a walkway.
You want them, you're gonna.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know if you
It's gotta
can
be
do
I don't know. Let's, yeah.
I mean, there is that, because, you know, they're continuously plowing 87, because they have to.
For the
So,
speed.
you know, you'd go out there and you'd shovel, and 10 minutes later, a plow would come by and bury it again.
Yeah.
I mean, do they keep gravel walkways in Lebanon free of snow during the winter? I would say probably.
They do.
Yes, but that's a town green, and they use a snow blower to do it.
Okay.
That's town property,
Yeah, but they do it, which means Department of Public Works does it.
yes. But they also have the skating rink, I mean, that's a whole thing.
We're working on it. Not on 87.
I can think,
I absolutely, I appreciate everybody's comments. Yes, Sam.
The reason it fell through last time is nobody gauged the public interest. You have to sell. It came from the top down. And it was the people along Route 87 that opposed it. So before we get into this, I mean, it would be lovely to be able to walk down on a nice walkway. But before we get into all the planning, engineering, and expense, we had better have the entire town behind it, or it'll be a waste of money.
Right, I totally agree.
Yeah.
At
Because
least the people who,
we'll do all the engineering, we'll be all set to move everything, you know, and they'll shoot it down. And then we put out money again without cost. So if you want a Broadway, you better get everybody in town behind it. Otherwise, it'll be just like last time.
Anybody else on the chat? No? Okay. So I heard clicking away over here and I see Mark scribbling and stuff, and believe me, I remember a lot of things that everybody has said. I get it. So we have some work to do. It would help if you wanted to gauge the interest. Careful walking door to door.
And let me try to make an outline so that the question's asked properly.
There's so many questions. Yes, that's what I want.
If you ask it improperly, you might get an incorrect assumption on what we're offering. So let me go to council of governments. This is where we belong as a member. This is what they do. They plan and build infrastructure in 38 towns around this area. So let me get their advice first. And I'll sit down with one of their planners. And they'll know the whole grant system back and forth. Not only the one I found, but the other options.
and I actually like the idea of a gravel path better than cement sidewalks are actually easier on the feet. On the legs. So,
Anyone else? So I would tell you to, I'm gonna give us some time.
And I'll communicate directly with you, Sharon.
do we form an ad hoc committee? Do we need to?
Let me crawl before I walk here. Let's work on the questions that we can give to them. Couple weeks. Okay. We'll have it for you in a couple weeks. I hate leaving something out there and say, we'll get back to you, and then it could be, you know, long after my term is up, so then you're back to square one. So, we'll get back to you in 2 weeks. Okay? When's the next select meeting? And in 2 weeks is June 6th. Excellent. Okay. There's so many questions. Okay. So I'll start with that.
Yep.
New business, 2023 steeplechase bike tour. I'll stop here. If you all would love to stick around, that's great. If you wanted to take off, I'll be there. When we talk about every subject, she's out.
You got your new guy. He's staying.
It's just, Stephen.
2023 steeplechase bike tour, they're back. And listen, it's excellent. They always come through. They take care of everything. So I move to approve the 2023 annual steeplechase tour to travel through Columbia on August 19th of this year. So, did they give us the same route?
I'm not quite sure if it's the same route, but it's listed in there.
The town has received, our town has received route maps and pertinent safety information. Have we received
Yeah,
The map was in the,
Oh, it's not.
it's not in here. It was in the packet though, that electronic packet.
Oh, all right.
yeah.
Okay, from us, it goes.
Yeah, it's-
Landers Road, turn left on Route 66 East. And you go all the way to, Tobacco, Zegler Road, Doubleday. That's not the same. Wow.
Wow, that's really.
That's
weaving around.
different. So they're going up Johnson, Cards Mill, Johnson, Zegler, Route 87, Doubleday, Chesborough.
Then tobacco.
Yeah, left on Tobacco, so it cuts out of our area.
Okay, I've ever been on tobacco.
That's gonna be the paved part.
Oh, that's why.
What's that?
It didn't ring a bell. I've never been on tobacco.
Yeah, it's not our club.
Right in the line.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can go right and it's dirt all.
Oh,
the way.
yeah, it cuts onto Pine Street.
Yes, it does.
All right.
And it's not worth taking.
Any detail? I've gone up there. I've driven that road.
It's a pretty
It's
road.
not good in winter.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. This signature or here?
There. You want Jen?
Okay, close out of the American Relief Fund projects that we, I move to approve the closeout of the above listed American Relief Fund projects completed as of 3/31/23 and return any balances remaining to the American Relief Fund balance.
That's total.
So we have, out of these things, rec park facility building, done. DPW site survey site plan done, roof replacement repair done, mini excavator done, working all the time. And self-contained breathing apparatus. And we're returning $25,525.27 back into the relief project funds.
It's so Colombian to return money.
Understand?
Yeah.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. How much do we have as a total then left?
Not much.
I said to you, do we have a total? And you said.
They have a total on return.
Okay.
And we-
I move to release the funds budgeted for the annual 4th of July parade to the Columbia Lions Club. I don't know why we do this. If it's budgeted, why doesn't it automatically pay?
Well, because they always send a formal letter and request it. So it's just our tradition.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I asked the same question.
Tax collector suspense. This is a suspense. I move to approve the recommendation to transfer uncollected property taxes to the suspense tax book as listed. Yeah, I remember doing this a couple of times.
Right, and if they sit there, we can always go back and actually collect them if we find the person.
So these are people that have moved out of state.
Moved out, we lost them, we can't find
Can't find
them,
where they are.
so we put them in the suspense list, so it more accurately reflects.
At what point do we just say we're not gonna get
I think
them?
they just sit on that.
We don't, no.
I think this person just talked.
You're funny.
I just want to see, because I think last time we did this, I saw a couple of names on there, people on there.
A lot moved out of state,
Yeah,
but
most
if
of
they
them,
stay in state, doesn't it get reported to the motor vehicle?
Yeah.
Because most of it's motor vehicles.
right, you can't register your car.
William Chwanik of the Chwanik family in town.
It's a lost cousin.
2017.
They'll, until that lost cousin needs to be for probate or something. Okay. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
The It doesn't amount to very much.
Nothing on the lake. Okay, appointments and resignations. Deb Fisk, Recreation Director, completion of her 6-month probation. I move to remove Deb Fisk from the 6-month probation and place her as a full-time employee. Really, any discussion? She does a fantastic job. She really does. Anybody else?
Heard wonderful things.
Yeah,
about
she's
people.
doing a great job.
Yeah, people are really happy.
Yep. All those in favor?
Aye.
Appointment of Tom McGrath to the Hot River Preserve Committee. Comes on everything that has dirt. I move to, yeah, did I just make that? I move to appoint Tom McGrath to the Hot River Preserve Committee. Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor? Thank you. I move to appoint Ashley Stryker to the Economic Development Commission.
She was just in a meeting with Rob.
Can I speak? I'm chairman of the, she's recently came to our meetings and she's great, so I just wanted a lot of energy, something we really need in that group, so hopefully you'll prove her.
Wait a minute.
What do you mean by that?
3/4 of that group are right here. It ranks up there with Mark saying, no, doesn't ever get better candidates.
She doesn't have great hair.
That's really nice.
Forget that.
No, I will not.
Take a decade or two off.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? I move to reappoint Mark Walters to the Eastern Highlands Health District.
Or you could go, Steve.
What are you doing there?
It's a monthly meeting.
What do you do there?
We make sure that we're following all state health codes and we have proper staffing to service town's needs for,
And you meet monthly to do that?
yeah. We get a full report from our, health department executive and from our doctor on assignment. It's a lot of fun during COVID.
I think you should make a motion to move it to every 2 months, okay? Just for like a all those in favor?
Aye.
I move to appoint Cynthia Latko as the payroll specialist with a start date of 5/30/23. Discussion. I have a discussion. Let's talk about this, because now we're gonna, so, just so I know. There's Bev. We had Jill, who was part-time.
Correct.
And we had Lisa, who was 36 hours.
Correct.
Okay. So now we have Bev. We have Kara, who's 36 hours. And we're adding this Latko for 36 hours.
Correct.
So we're gaining a half time.
We're gaining,
I think Lisa was Jill was actually 30 hours. Can you tell? Jen?
I think, because we couldn't find the word for her to give her. Okay, so, and you're telling me,
Does our payroll specialist do the town and
In the
school?
school. Correct. The payroll specialist works on the town 1 week, the school the next week, the town 1 week, the school next week. So she alters back and forth.
And we still have a service that does.
And she cuts the checks. So what the payroll specialist is entering all your time off, all your vacation, all your hours, and then feeding all that information to a payroll service so the check can get cut and the payroll service automatically factors in taxes. But the payroll specialist has to know 5 union contracts to code everything correctly.
So is
it'll
this a
probably-
new job or is this?
No, we're replacing Lisa Rose. So it'll probably take 6 months to learn the job. That's Bev's estimate.
so who's been doing it?
Bev. It's been Bev and Kara's been helping a little. So what we've done too is Kara's been given more responsibility in the time off department, which we shifted some of that from Jen over to Kara. Because it was consuming, how much of your time, Jen, doing the time off slips?
20 an hour or two every week.
But there was a lot of complaining during that hour or two. It was not easy. Well, the problem is you were getting it wrong.
Right.
One of the reasons it's better to have it over in the annex is that they don't have traffic coming in with constant interruptions all day. So it made more sense to move that over to Kara. And we've also cross-trained Kara.
I
work
don't,
out the
I just don't understand why it takes that much time. I mean, there are programs that do payroll.
Every week.
We do our own payroll for 8 people, it takes Rich 20 minutes.
You have 8 people now.
Yeah, I understand, how many employees do we have?
Over 200.
We have 200 employees in this town?
No, including school.
I understand, but they're still employees, but you know, it's the setup, once it's set up. And their salary, so the school is mostly salary, right? So it's just if somebody isn't in for a day where you're keeping track of that kind of thing.
I don't know, it's a lot over there. I just see,
I don't know, just seems like,
I just think 3 people is not enough to do both. And to do the finance director.
Jill was 30 hours a week.
So we're adding 6 hours, and right now Kara is easily working those 6 hours over on this side of the street.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Do we budget for that?
Yes.
Next is appointments of Marine Patrol. I move to appoint the following individuals to Marine Patrol. Dave Evans, Jaylene Fegan, Jody Gross, Zoe Roth, Ronald Smith, and Brian Hall. Which one is our man in charge?
Brian Hall.
Okay, so he's in charge.
Are they older or are they?
It's everyone except Jaylene Fagan. She's the youngest, but she's worked here for multiple years. So she's in her 20s.
Have you seen the training that they're going through?
And they just started, Deb brought in a professional for building confidence and teamwork that she's used previously, so that was step 1. And I believe that was for the lifeguards. I think Marine Patrol is about to do their training this week.
We budgeted that.
What's that?
We budget the specialists to come in and do that? The most mine. Okay, these things, I'm just very surprised. Okay. All those in favor of hiring these people?
aye.
On you, town administrator.
I've got a report from our tax collector. We've already collected over 98% of our taxes owed, so that's really good. She's added.
Wow,
Super. I just wanted to report that. Also, Memorial Day, we're celebrating Monday, May 29th. And this is our 10th, 9. So 9 o'clock with the taps and the ceremonies at the cemeteries. The legislative update, it's been very painful. There were 7,000 bills submitted, of which 450 made it out of committees, and they think 250 will become law. But one of the things that could really affect us, they want to reduce the interest on non-paid taxes, meaning taxes that are late. Right now, it's 1.5% a month. They want to drop it to 1%. But the towns and cities are concerned. They like having our tax rate the highest so that we're the first paid, not the credit card companies. So I don't know how that'll shake out. And also, there's still a lot of concern that they're trying to move cancer, that you don't have to prove how you got your cancer if you're a firefighter, volunteer, or full-time, but they want to move it to workman's comp. And CCM is working hard with the unions to try to move that responsibility into a self-funded fund by the state or by putting a penny on our cell phone bills.
Penny?
Well, we had a penny on the cell phone bills, but the state refused to clearly identify what the money was going towards, so it was ruled unconstitutional. So now they're trying to get back into finding a funding source that would fund the cancer. We're fully willing to pay for anyone that gets cancer that's job related. The challenge is if you don't have to prove it's job related, then they're worried that it would be like heart and hypertension back when anyone that had a heart attack that was in the police force, it was ruled that it's because of your job. And that eventually bankrupted a lot of, they predict that Colonel would not be able to afford to do this if it was a workman's comp. Other towns, I think Vermont went under with having a workman's comp. But that's just one sideline they're working on. So I'll bring you up to speed as the session gets closer right now. We're also concerned they're going to change car tax again. And also they're threatening to change the value of the property. They want to increase, instead of us taxing on 70% of the value, we tax on 75% of the value. So the state keeps trying to shift more and more to the property value of a house, get it out of cars and put it more on structures.
Houses don't appreciate it. Really, my cars do.
So that's all I have on CCM and those the update. I included in here the RP. Thank you, Jen, for working with myself and Chris committee in the school, and we pulled together the RP, which is due back on June 1st at 3 p.m. So we sent it out to 3 applicants out of the 4. We felt 3 really good, had good presentations. So we'll see what we get back as a proposal. And we'll bring it to the, we'll make a recommendation out of the committee and then bring it to the board.
Okay.
And then I also wanted to give you a quick update that we did hear back from the state. You know, we had questions on speed on Route 66 East, need for a crosswalk at I think Pine and Hennequin. That was one question, and we also had something else, but they got back and said that, well, it was the reduced speed limit on 66 East, better signage on Hunt and West. Oh, Hunt and West, we still feel that when you're coming from Hunt or West, it's hard to see that you're about to cross a highway. So I think that has to be addressed. And also crosswalk on Pine and Hennequin. So we do get back from the state, and all those are in the proper departments, and we'll wait to hear back from them.
So West Street and what?
West and Hunt. So when you come either from West or Hunt, if you're not paying attention and you don't really see that stop sign, you can't tell.
Those are not our stop signs, those are the state stop signs.
Well, we have to work with the state on those stop signs. You can't just. do
Because
it.
the one on West Street, that's the one the little girl blew through and 2 kids were killed. And she never even hit brakes, she just went straight into 66.
And I've
You
noticed,
travel with a lot. You can't see the stop sign?
I'm 3 houses
It's
in.
deceptive because it looks like it's one street.
if you can't see 66, it is not obvious you're about to cross the highway at all.
Coming from.
If you're not paying
Especially
attention.
West Street. West Street onto
Right.
Hunt, going that direction, it can just look like it's gone.
Right. If you're daydreaming or texting or doing anything,
So if they
you're
had a big
fire
stop
across
sign,
that.
and good reflectors, you might have.
Right, I think you need maybe
They changed
like
this.
Caution.
or one that's solar powered lit that the stop sign actually lights
They have
up.
some good stop signs, but that,
Well, we've asked about those signs down about the curve down there
Right,
too.
and we're waiting to hear the
We're
answer. on
waiting.
that.
Again, the state doesn't move too quick, do they?
But
Because
it's
they did
encouraging,
change
we
that.
gotta acknowledge.
They did change that stop sign at one point. Remember they made it much bigger
They
than.
use the larger size, more, and, I don't know if they have the lollipop red. down.
I don't think they do have the lollipop.
We need to
red.
definitely have that,
That would help, but I think part of the problem might also be there's a telephone pole
yes,
kind of.
and that might need to be moved back.
We need a traffic light there. Oh,
Well, I think that would help a lot, if you had a blinking light,
Blinker, yeah.
that would be obvious that something's
I
ahead.
wouldn't want a
I like a
lollipop.
traffic light, not just a blinker, but.
So we've requested that too.
Yeah, but nobody wants to stop on
I
that,
know.
66.
I know, it just seems like it'd
How
be
many
so
times do you
much.
stop at Hebron though? You're going through Hebron, you stop several times. Why can't we have a few more stops at Columbia?
Yeah,
You stop where?
In Hebron, you have several stoplights.
And-
along
but
there.
they're all in the
I
center,
understand, they're right in the center of the town at 35 miles an hour.
right?
You know,
That's the problem. I mean, people around there, you talk about the safety and everything. We talk about it every time I go to the senior center, which is once a month to talk to them. It's so fast, it's so fast, it's so fast. I know it, you know, give residents speed strips we can throw in front of the cars that goes by. I mean,
Actually,
people
part
are
of the
passing
problem
on Route 6 on the shoulder.
Oh,
is they made it way too wide and way too nice.
Where?
The road, Route 66 between the top of the hill and the center of town is 6 feet, 10 feet wider than it is coming up the hill from Hebron. It widens and people hit the top of that hill and they're like, yeah, this is great, and they're gone. I mean,
Yeah.
I've had people fly by me and I'm doing 45, 50 and they're flying by
I
me.
know.
And I've got to the point where I just pull over. It's like, fine, I'm not gonna, if I can't see your headlights, I'm just pulling over.
Right, I also got a word that finally the Hop River Trails Bridge has been funded. And the Connecticut DOT is authorized to award on the Hop River Road Bridge contract. Authorized to award the Hop River Road Bridge contract. So you have the bridge that goes across the road and the bridge that goes across
So when's it
the Hop
gonna
River.
be started?
The road bridge will not be until after 2026. So we're just now going out to bid. And that'll be in 2024. And then it'll be a 2-year project.
Please take.
But the Hop River Trails Bridge, which is also out to 2026, is least funded now. That was, they presented that to us in 2019.
Okay, so it covers both the trail and
And
the
the bridge road. Also want to give you a heads up in case we make the news. Department of Developmental Services, DDS, is notifying that their bargaining units are about to go on strike. So we've reached out to our fire marshal and we'll notify a resident trooper in case the group is picketing at the group.
They were picking on 87, so not now, but last
They
time.
were last year.
Yeah, it was last year, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's happening now.
Last winter.
Yeah, because they were parking.
Yep.
And that is all I have, Steve.
Okay, there's some correspondence. The words of Father Daniel Cohen, read it for yourselves.
The inside Catholic.
Oh,
Oh, if you could have known, man. It was awesome. You always knew where you stood.
He was trying to speed up the service.
Am I right, Bill? Read it for yourselves. Okay, budget transfers, none. Okay, refunds, I move to approve refunds totaling $980.82. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Approve it, we'll pay the bills. I move that we approve the payment of bills totaling $175,864.52, consisting of 22-23 emergency, 22-23 regular, credit card, and paycheck.
We're at the sheet rocks for the Charlie. On the DPW.
I gave him the.
Okay.
Gold coins, leprechaun, we have a leprechaun?
It was Rec Park,
We don't like.
St. Patrick's Day. No?
So our 2017 truck had quite a bit of repairs done, huh?
Yes, because we can't buy a new truck.
Where were the AED cabinets going?
In Rec Park.
Can we step back a minute? What about the truck?
We can't get a new truck.
Did we appropriate for a truck, right?
Yeah.
And we can't find a truck to buy.
No,
So we keep putting money into this one?
yes.
What do we put into it? Chris?
$6,000.
$7,396.
Oh, moorings and lines. How much have we spent? A lot of money on moorings
Yeah,
and
we
lines.
had 3 boats come off.
Snap
their
off
moorings and
last year.
Snap off last year.
So this year,
We replaced them all.
at the, where the line was attached to the anchor, we have a swivel connection there. Before, the boat would spin around, and it would snap, and they would go. Now we have a swivel that it should take care of that problem.
So how much have we spent on these moorings that we get $100 a year for?
Or you might want to consider raising it.
Well, that was kind of my point.
Probably could get 200.
Okay, just a thought
Yeah.
that we might need to.
So we
kind of
can't bring
fund
the
it.
kayak.
But it was just, I was looking at that going, man, that's a lot of money. Because we spent a lot of money last year on the lines, right?
Probably.
So the disc golf signs are pretty expensive, huh?
They're really nice.
Are they made of gold?
They're in color. Our professional that was advising us. This will be the nicest disc golf course that I played at.
Won't ever be done, but it'll be.
I know, we may never finish it. We're this close, as long as we don't have a mutiny from the employees.
How are we doing on, I see a lot of things, DPW, the heating, the painting, and the sheetrock and
Yeah,
stuff.
Doors.
It's coming.
They're good,
Are we on
really.
budget?
Yeah, on budget, and Beth is about to go pick out some furniture.
Okay.
Some recliners for resting. You should read that.
Resting.
Don't you see?
Recliners?
We don't want.
Yeah, okay. Anything else on the, all those in favor of paying the bills? Audience of citizens. Anything that you want to talk about we haven't heard, or you'd like to say, you can make a statement that we haven't already talked about? Seeing none. Board member comments?
Said nothing.
You said nothing.
That's enough. Trust me.
Bill, one day, Bill.
Okay, so at this time, I would like to suspend the Board of Selectmen meeting and enter into executive session. And I would invite Mark Walter and Rob Hellstrom to attend. Thank you for coming.
Okay,
Thank you, Daniel.
Thanks.
Where do you live?
Heritage, am I allowed to offer if they do it?
Hey.
She started it.
I just.
I'm over at Heritage, in the corner of Whitney.
So the time is 9:05. We're going to resume the Board of Selectmen meeting, come out of executive session. No action was taken. An executive session that required a vote. So with no further ado, I already had board member comments. We are going to vote to adjourn. All those in favor? At 9:06 PM.
It was nice seeing you guys.
You too, right?
Recording.